Hey everybody, it's your boy, and I thought I'd make a quick video, and it's taken me so long and I apologise, about the Queen and her passing. First off, my thoughts initially were that she was not going to die so soon. I thought that she was going to die like this week or something like that, because we got the news that she was in Balmoral, at home, in bed, being supervised by medical professionals, and then the family went to visit her, and then next thing you know, she was dead within a few hours. It was crazy. It went by so fast, but that's life as a 96-year-old. There's a day when you're going to just drop dead. And you know, the reaction was something that people really should have expected. We should have expected a lot of the idiots to be stupid in public. You know, the Republicans, the foreign haters, stuff like that. That is something to be expected. What I wasn't expecting was people to be arrested for being stupid in public. Now, of course, this is the UK. People get arrested for, you know, voicing their opinions because of the fears of offending people and stuff like that. But I never thought they'd be arrested for, you know, insulting the monarchy and stuff like that. Now, that was something I wasn't expecting. Not even in the 1700s did that necessarily happen to even the worst satirist. But it is what it is, although I do think the Conservatives who are laughing at them, and also the patriotic Labour supporters, should probably not be going around saying lock them up and stuff like that, because they should know that they will also get locked up when they say something against Parliament or whoever. I do think eventually, as time has gone on after she's died, that I think the coverage and the way we've gone about the 10 days of mourning has maybe gone a bit too overboard. I can't think of any other monarch to have died that's had this extreme response from both sides. You know, like you got her face everywhere saying rest in peace and stuff like that, and even on shop windows and people's houses. I don't know if that happened when George died, her father, but if so, I can't imagine it was anywhere near as big as this. I imagine it was a sad story, a big story, but not something that was akin to NHS worship. But out of all the state institutions, I'd rather her be worshipped than the NHS. So at least a plus on that. But what about her legacy? What can we expect from that? What will people be thinking about her in a few decades' time? What will historians write? And I think it was David Starkey that said it best, although I don't know if he's changed his opinion. But really, I think she'll be known as the monarch who did nothing. When you look at this Guardian article that Legal Mindset went through, which detailed all the important parts of her reign, she didn't do anything. Obviously, she can't do much as, you know, essentially a figurehead which has a lot of power behind the scenes, and by and large did nothing. She never used the veto to get rid of all of the nasty legislation that's been passed over the years. Did nothing. She instead took the advice of her ministers and stuff like that to allow this to go through, eroding our rights over, well, 70 years. If anything, she should be seen as the Queen that did nothing to stop British society collapsing and our traditions being destroyed. Yes, people are saying that she's this bastion of traditionalism that's been there and held up the, you know, monarchy and brought into the modern age, but really, she didn't. In fact, monarchy changed. Gone are the days where the males were preferred to be the heir, for example. So, say if she had a brother who was like the middle child between her and her sister, and she was still the oldest, he would become king, not her. Nowadays, thanks to her lack of influence and Parliament, that's no longer the case. Anybody can become king or queen as long as they're the eldest. So I'm expected to believe that she is a symbol of stability and tradition when she's anything but. I mean, stability in the sense she was always there for most of us, but was Britain ever stable under her? Not really, not in many decades. It was quite a turbulent time, her reign, and I think people will look back at that and see that aside from maybe a few decades, it was mostly a time of change and disruption, and obviously that coincided with the fall of the empire and stuff like that. I think that's what she will ultimately be remembered for, and I think associated with the decline of empire. I mean, the decline went as well as any decline could go, but then after that, British society went even further down the drain, and she did nothing to prevent it. She did nothing at all. And if you look at her reign, the real highlights of them had nothing to do with her. You know, like the Suez Canal, things like that. All the big political events had nothing to do with her. At least King George was involved in World War II quite intimately, you know, dealing with the war effort, helping to raise morale, stuff like that. But when you look at her reign, it's all personal dramas. Now, maybe that's the end result of a figure of a monarchy that is rather of a symbol and the figurehead rather than, say, something that is involved in the political process, although she actually kind of is. That should speak volumes. Diana, you know, the marriages of William and Harry, stuff like that. All that is the most famous stuff to have happened from her reign than, say, any political stuff. Anything that she did as a monarch. That's all she's going to be remembered for. These dramas, these petty dramas that for most historians, for most people in general, wouldn't care about, but because it's the monarchy, they do. And that says something about her. Now, what about the future? What's going to happen? Is the monarchy finished because now she's gone? Well, no, not necessarily. The monarchy, I think personally, is going to live on. Now, will they still be the monarchs of the countries that they still are, like Barbados is going, although even then that was not a result of a popular vote, but the government deciding goodbye. Will Australia, New Zealand and Canada finally get rid of the monarchy? Well, I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as they're going to go because King Charles is now, you know, on the throne. I don't think so. I don't think that it's as clear-cut as that, and I do know, speaking to Australians, at the very least, I don't know about New Zealanders and Canadians necessarily, but a lot of Australians, they're still pro-monarchy, and as far as I'm aware, as long as King Charles does a good job, I don't think they'll care. Now, apparently he's really unpopular there, but I don't know why. Why in particular in Australia would he be so unpopular? But as long as the monarchy continues doing what they've always done, that is adapt and grow, they'll still be here. Republicanism is far too cringe in this country, and actually in the Commonwealth countries, for it to be taken seriously by normal people. That's why in places like Barbados they didn't go to the people directly, because when other Caribbean islands have done so, the people voted overwhelmingly to keep her. I don't think the Union is going to collapse now that King Charles is on the throne. If anything, once he dies, it's going to be strengthened. At least this is what some monarchists tell me. I personally don't buy it. That once William ascends to the throne, the Scots will all of a sudden become loyal again, or at least the Scots that vote SNP seriously as secessionists, as opposed to those who just want Gibbs, because Diana Spencer is a direct descendant of the Stuarts, although so is the present monarchy through various cousins from the 1700s. You know, King George I was a cousin of Mary and Anne, but I guess she was more descended than they are. So that must mean that the Scots must automatically become more loyal to the crown. I mean, they're being pretty loyal now with their outbursts of support. So, again, I don't buy that the Union's going to collapse, that the monarchy's going to go. Republicanism is a fringe movement in this country. It's not going to suddenly grow and spout new roots just because one person dies, one of many monarchs in 1,000 years. Just don't see it, guys. My personal feelings was, actually, it was kind of sad. It was a long time coming. I didn't think I'd feel a little bit sad, but a lot of people who didn't really like her, like me, ended up feeling kind of sad, because I think she went through a really tough time towards the end with the death of Philip and the horrible funeral that they gave him, where she was the only one allowed, save for security and stuff like that, where she had to wear a mask. There was no parade because the Conservatives had to still cling to that COVID policy, and it just felt so sad. I mean, once Prince Philip died, we all knew that the end was probably going to be in sight. I mean, a year is a testament that she still stuck out as long as she did. So, anyway, in conclusion, you know, I mean, there's things to like about her, the work ethic, things like that, but other than that, she won't be remembered by much, so I'll see you all later.